Hey, welcome. Today, we're digging into a global phenomenon that started out with just a few simple pen and ink drawings on Instagram. It's the story of a boy, a mole, a fox, and a horse, and how their quiet little journey through the wilderness somehow ended up on the world's biggest stage.
It really did all start with this, just a few raw, emotional lines of ink on paper. It's beautiful, no doubt, but could you have ever guessed it would lead to a #1 best-selling book, a star-studded animated film, and then an Academy Award? It's a pretty amazing question. How did such a quiet story end up making so much noise?
So, to really get how this all happened, we first have to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of its success. I mean, this wasn't just another popular book, it was a total cultural tidal wave that kind of came out of nowhere.
To put that into perspective for you, selling 250,000 copies in the US is a massive deal for any book. But for a debut collection of drawings with hardly any text, that's almost unheard of. And believe me, that was just the very beginning. So yeah, this is the big mystery we're unpacking today. How on earth did this super unassuming book, with what one reviewer called a tremendously long title, manage to capture the hearts of millions and millions of people, from 8 years old to 80, all around the globe?
All right, the first piece of the puzzle is definitely in the art itself. This isn't just illustration, it's like a masterclass in communicating emotion. Let's break down what makes Charlie Mackessy's style so incredibly powerful.
Critics were really quick to point out that the genius here is all in the simplicity. The lines are just so confident, they're not trying to hide anything. Mackesy isn't trying to create some polished, perfect image. Nope. Instead, he's giving us something totally raw and honest, capturing the very soul of his characters. And this is where it gets really wild. The praise got so high that reviewers made a direct comparison to Leonardo da Vinci. Seriously. On the left, you've got Da Vinci's super detailed anatomical studies. On the right, Mackessy's work is being called a Da Vinci-esque reduction. He's not drawing every single muscle, but he's capturing the essential feeling of horseness. Its power, its movement, and its gentleness all at once.
And you can see that technique across all the characters, can't you? The mole is basically just a simple shape, but we know exactly who he is. The fox? A few sharp angles and a little smudge. The boy is defined by these loose, gentle curves. I mean, with just a handful of strokes, Mackesy tells us everything we really need to know about who they are. Okay, so let's move on to the second key element here, the message, because beyond the absolutely beautiful art, this book offers a philosophy that just resonated so deeply in our complicated world. This is probably the book's most famous exchange. Think about it. In a world that's always asking kids about careers and what they want to achieve, the answer, it's both incredibly simple and totally profound. It just cuts through all the noise and gets right to the heart of what really matters.
And that's exactly why the book feels like it's in the same family as classics like Winnie the Pooh or The Little Prince. Its messages about love and bravery and friendship, they're not tied to a specific time or a specific culture. They're just universal truths that speak to pretty much everyone, no matter your age or where you're from.
And the book is just packed with these gentle little reframes. It takes something we often see as a weakness, asking for help, and flips it, presenting it as the ultimate act of strength. It's that kind of quiet wisdom that so many people found genuinely comforting and, useful in their own lives.
But the story didn't just stay on the page. Its journey into an animated film took its message and amplified it for a huge global audience. And it all ended with the highest honor in the entire film industry. This timeline really just highlights the incredible speed of it all. I mean, in just 4 years, this story went from a newly published book to an Oscar winner. That is a meteoric rise that just goes to show how powerfully this story connected with people.
And wow, was it brought to life by an all-star team. You've got incredible voice talent like Idris Elba and Tom Hollander, and then heavyweight producers like J.J. Abrams. This wasn't some small indie project, it was a major production, and it attracted top-tier talent because they all respected the source material so much. So you could imagine, the biggest challenge for the animation team, who were spread out across 20 countries during the pandemic, by the way, was how do you make these drawings move without losing their soul? Well, their solution was to meticulously hand-draw the animation, preserving that beautiful, loose and unfinished quality of the original ink lines. The film literally feels like a living, breathing painting. So we've got the art, and we've got the message. But maybe the most interesting reason for its success, the real secret sauce, is how the story acts like a blank canvas. It allows for this incredible range of interpretations.
So on one end of the spectrum, you've got interpretations like this one from astrological psychology. Here, the characters aren't just animals, they're seen as archetypes. The quiet, wounded fox is viewed as embodying the restrained, cautious energy of the planet Saturn. It's a really deep symbolic reading. But then, from a completely different universe, you have academic analyses that connect the story to these complex psychiatric concepts like healthy cultural paranoia. This theory explores the kind of adaptive mistrust that marginalized groups can develop, and it sees the character's journey as a sort of metaphor for navigating a threatening world.
And right there, that's the magic of the whole thing. The story never tells you when or where it's set. The boy has no name, no home, no family history at all. And that vagueness, it's totally intentional. It creates space for you, the reader, to project your own feelings and experiences onto the story. Is it a simple fable? Or maybe a story about spirits? It can be whatever you need it to be in that moment.
Which, of course, brings us right back to our central question. After looking at the art, the message, and all these different interpretations, what is this book and this film really about? The simplest answer is probably this. It's a mirror. It doesn't tell you what to see. It reflects whatever you bring to it. If you're feeling lost, it's a story about finding a home. If you feel lonely, it's a story about friendship. If you're grieving, it could even be a story about the afterlife. Its power is all in its reflection. You know, maybe the 17th century philosopher Blaise Pascal said it best. The book's impact isn't really something you can fully analyze with just logic. It's something you feel. The heart has its reasons of which reason knows not. It speaks a language that just bypasses the thinking part of your brain and goes straight to the heart. And so in the end, the ultimate explanation for its success might just be found inside each of us. The book became a global phenomenon because it offered this beautiful empty space for our own emotions. Which really just leaves one final question. What does it make you feel?